Welcome. Hey, everybody. Things have been feeling so powerful and spiritually potent over here that I felt like I was hoarding by not making a video tonight. So, I want to give you a peek into Hallie and I and our preparations for the mystery school, the sacred art of coming undone. I'll explain more about what a mystery school is and what this school is, but essentially, it's tracking what your ego's doing in your life and learning how to get underneath the grip of the ego and go into the area in your psyche where your soul can say what it wants to say. That's essentially what we're doing in this thing. So it starts September 9th. We founded it about a year ago, actually, after Hallie was a fire protection engineer successfully for about a decade, had a couple kids, really felt called to a different path professionally, but didn't know what that would be. We call that the void. So her ego, her identity of fire protection engineer crumbled. It was just done. And that's actually the first phase of when you know an ego death is happening is when you're going through the motions of your life, but it doesn't satisfy you or fulfill you the way that it did. And you have this inner heart noise, this calling from within, just like the heroine's journey, where it's like, come find me, hide and seek. There's a part of you that says, there's more than this. There's more to you than this. There's a different existence that I want to live. That's your soul speaking. And so, what we do in the mystery school is we take you to that place. That's why we call it threshold keepers. What qualifies us to do such a thing? Life does. And traditionally, medicine women and healers, life and their soul and the natural gifts that it came with is what actually qualifies them for the work. And that's exactly what's happened. So in 2020, I, Lizzie, had a psychic awakening. My two grandmas died. I saw like a couple different, a Reiki practitioner and an energy worker. And in one of those Reiki sessions, I full on in my third eye, like I never had before, not imagined. I had a full on visitation from each of my grandfathers. In another session, my grandmother came through. In another moment, it wasn't a session, but it was a meditation on my own. Another grandmother came through and she actually had a message for me and let me know that she had money for me. And it was a crazy stuff. So that was when the door was blown open for me, where my extra senses came online. For some people, that's what it looks like when their soul starts to wake up in their life. For other people, though, it might just be that they have a new vision of what their life should be, or they do something different for their professional life, or they start a project or a nonprofit or whatever it is. Um, but anyway, that's what marks you as beginning to head towards becoming initiated by your soul is when you feel that calling. So Hallie felt that, and I felt that over here. I had been the postpartum coach very happily for 8 years. On paper, that business was rocking. I had served over 100,000. I had over 100,000 downloads on my podcast. I was 4.8 stars. I have over 300 episodes. I did it for 6 years. Helped so many women for free with the postpartum coach podcast, and then I signed a bunch of clients and was able to go deep and help people honestly get out of pain in their body, like pelvic floor pain, emotional pain that therapists couldn't help them with, that their doctors and OBGYNs couldn't help them with. Now, I wasn't saying to people, don't go get that help, but they were coming to me because their bodies could sense that there was something I knew that could help them. And it's not like I was going around being like, "Hey, I can help all of you." I did know I could help people, but the truth is like when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And that's happened for me in my life. And there may be some of you that are subscribed to Threshold Keepers who it's your time to experience what we have here at this school. So I wanted to tell you about it. So, mystery schools are experiential places, okay? It's a container that is different than a life coaching program or a therapy session. We are not giving you a step-by-step process to improve who you already are, or to fix a problem. We are creating a container and preparing you so that we can take you into the deeper realms of your consciousness without going unconscious at all. This is not hypnosis. So you're completely conscious, but through visualization, as I guide you with words, you go on what we call a guided journey. And we have an entire article all about what guided journeys are. I also have a free guided journey I'm going to put in here so you can experience it. It's actually my favorite one, and I love it, and I'm so excited to gift it to you, because you're a subscriber here at Threshold Keepers. But yeah, essentially, when you participate in a mystery school, you are going into the threshold with us, at least, right? Between your conscious mind and your unconscious mind. You are getting past the grips of the ego. So our ego is attached to form. It is related to it's our psyche, and it expresses through our nervous system. It's our human consciousness, and it wants to attach to a specific identity, a specific timeline, a specific plan you've made for your life. Then you have your soul, your cosmic nature. I have my own publication called The Kitchen and the Cosmos. It's just about this juxtaposition, right? The whole thing about being human is how do we hold both and not get sucked into one or bypassing life by being sucked into the cosmic? How do we stay balanced in it all? And so when we do these guided journeys in the mystery school, we are taking you past or underneath the grips of your ego to where you can actually hear from your soul, who you really are. And whether that's through actually hearing words, some people do hear words when they're in these guided journeys. A lot of people see symbols, which then when we come out of the guided journey, I have a lot of expertise in dream interpretation and the language of the psyche. So some people see symbols, some people have an emotional release that then leads them to feel or sense themselves in a new way. So there's so many different ways that it can look like. And we teach you and prepare you and walk you through it, and then also help you integrate and what's the word? Interpret everything that your psyche or your soul brings to you in these guided journeys. But that is what the mystery school is. The reason we can't just like offer this for free on the internet is because it is not something that you can learn about. It is something you walk through, which takes a level of presence, preparation, and devotion, right? So when you are coming into our mystery school, you're not devoting yourself to us, and you're not even devoting yourselves to our body of work. Your devotion and your commitment and what you are being initiated by is your higher consciousness that's within you. It's the consciousness that we don't usually touch day to day. Unless you're like an avid meditator, where you're regularly getting into that deep um, state in your mind where you can hear your soul. Unless you have experience with the language of the psyche and the symbolism and all of that, most of us just make our best guesses. We go off of intuition. I love intuition, and we're probably doing pretty good, right? So we're not here to disparage you and be like, you need us. You're sucking at life. But this is really if you feel like a call from within. If you're feeling this little part of you that's like wanting more attention, and maybe she's unhappy or she's just unfulfilled by the life that you're living, the way that you're living it. A lot of times, people and our students tell us, and in my experience too, you can feel something coming through, like in your crown chakra or in your heart space or your gut. You feel a missing of your pieces. You feel an incompleteness. It's not the same as not being worthy. It's not like, oh, I need to do this program because I don't feel worthy as I am. That's different. This is there is something that there's a part of me that when she is witnessed and heard, she has um information and also soul expression that I don't currently have access to. So that is what happens in the cycle that we take you through, that we study, and that is already happening in all of our psyches, whether we're aware of it or not. And that's a whole other discussion on why aren't we more aware of ego death and the void and rebirth and how that's always happening in our psyche all the time. That's a different conversation. We have a couple articles on that, the missing map part 1 and the missing map part 2, Empire's Playbook. They're such good articles. Damn, I'm so proud of those. But anyway, if you have been feeling like lately that life is a little bit more surface level than you would like, and it didn't used to feel that way, and you can't explain why it feels that way, but it just does. That is the first sign that something within you, that your ego has started to die. We have a whole article that walks you through every single step of what ego death feels like. Okay? When you are totally shifting identity, but you don't really know it yet, how to track that cycle happening in your body so that you can be oriented to it, and in your psyche so that you can be oriented to it. Maybe you can let your partner or the people really close to you know. It's so nice. Oh my gosh, how I wish I would have known about the ego death and the void and the rebirth, this cycle that's always happening in our consciousness. This is what the mystery schools have always studied, and not studied just intellectually. It's what they have walked through, what they've chosen to walk into. Because here's the thing, when you become a conscious participant in your personal evolution, your soul is able to come forward more. You are more able to find the path that your soul came here to live. And life starts to turn on, not just manifestation, but synchronicities. It's like when you choose to go to the threshold between ego and soul, between consciousness and unconsciousness. When you sign up for that, which is what you're essentially doing when you come into Threshold Keepers, you are initiated by your higher consciousness, and it changes your life. It changes the way that you become, right? Think about it like this. If you never went to college, you would be one person. If you did go to college, you would be a different person. One is not necessarily better. I'm not shaming not going to college, but your trajectory of learning would be one thing and not the other. If you had a job at this company versus a job working for yourself, like two different paths, you become two different people. And the question I want to pose is, what would happen in your life? What would you find and discover? What would you hear and understand if you devoted 12 weeks to walking to the threshold over and over again? And by the way, it's a relationship. It's not just a skill, because this is a living thing you're engaging with. So we're building a relationship. You're learning how your psyche or your soul talks to you. We're learning the symbolism. We're learning the lack of symbolism. Maybe for you, it's not as much visual symbols and it's more of like these just cosmic downloads where you're just like knowing things and seeing your life differently or seeing yourself differently. It can happen in an instant. A higher consciousness, whether it's a symbol you see or just a knowing, can totally transform the way you see your life, the way you are in your life, the way you orient to being human. That is why this stuff is protected, because it's so powerful. And it's not protected because it's secret. It's because, again, it takes a certain level of devotion, commitment, and presence, because you're developing a relationship with a living thing, which is the highest consciousness within you, or your soul, or your psyche, whatever you want to call it. If you have questions, please comment on this video, because we are more than happy to walk you through this. We have about 1 month, just under a month from today, until the doors to the enrollment closes and we begin our 12-week descent together. I have more details on the curriculum and all of that. It's coming to you guys. But if you have specific questions, please just comment on this video. You can email us at any time, DM us here on Substack. We can't wait. We really, really can't wait. We just recorded. So how we're going to do it is we're going to have an online temple and then our in person on Zoom gatherings. And so you'll get the lessons. You can just stew and marinate and note your questions. And then everybody comes to the calls with everything just fresh in there. And we just get into it. We just deep in our presence. So that's every other call is like that. It's discussion. The calls in between those are actual guided journeys. This is where we are not learning about, we are walking in and experiencing the threshold. So I can't even wait. I'm so excited for you guys. We also have a group chat throughout the entire process where we are really just getting into it together, sharing extra resources. And this is just our second time running this thing. And so it's technically still beta. So it's a great time to get in. The price reflects the fact that it's beta. You have, like I said, the 12 calls between guided journeys and discussion calls, all of the videos, the chat group, and then you also get 30 minutes with me and Hallie each of the 3 months. So 3 30-minute sessions with me and Hallie. You can always upgrade for more time if you want, but we want everybody to have a little bit of one on one time, well, two on one time with us throughout the program just because it is beta. We really want to stay attuned to you, track you, give you that extra special attention. So, I would love it if you told me if this interests you, like what is fascinating about it. Even if you're like not sure if you're going to join, I would love to hear what's resonating. If you have a friend that you want to share this to, please do. We would love that. And yeah, if you are feeling called, then it's thresholdkeepers.com. Book a consultation and come talk with us. All right. Talk soon.